Hello and welcome to TMXing Adventures. Lisa here. Hey, look, I have just milled down brown rice. It took 2 minutes into rice flour. So welcome if you are new here. The Thermomix is amazing at milling our own whole ingredients down to what you want them to do. And today it is actually rice flour, and I've got brown rice, which is actually what this recipe calls for. However, you could use white rice if you wanted to. It's just what we have on hand here. So today I'm making the gluten-free date, apple and walnut tea bread. This is delicious, okay? I'm just going to go back to the beginning so that you know what it looks like. You can find it on Cookie Do, or you can step through and cook this with me later, okay? Watch the replay and then actually cook along to it. So that's another way to do it if you don't have access at the moment to Cookie Do, or maybe your internet's down, but you can do it on your phone. So let's get into this recipe. It's a beautiful recipe. We made it on the weekend, and I just had to share it with you. Plus, it's also on the download, which I had finished on the weekend, hence the inspiration. I use these as much as you guys do. All right, so this month we are focusing on gluten-free, dairy-free, and the amazing thing is when you got a Thermomix is it doesn't feel unusual to be able to cook amazing food with it. Like, it's not like buying gluten-free bread at the shops and you're like, this doesn't taste right. Like, you can't tell the difference when you make it fresh yourself, which is awesome. Do say hi if you're watching on today as well, by the way. It means that then if you engage, whether you like or love or say hi, that Facebook knows that you'd like to see these videos. And if you are watching the replay on YouTube tonight, of course, remember to subscribe. Share these with your friends and family who have a Thermomix, or maybe those who maybe have seen a demo and they weren't sure, timing wasn't right, so that they can see if now's the right time for them. Okay, so we've milled down brown rice. How cool is that? It took 2 minutes on speed. I think it was 9. So preheat oven to 180. Grease a large loaf tin with oil and set aside. And then there's 240 grams of brown rice, okay? In it went. Insert the measuring cup. Then 2 minutes, speed 10, and off it went, okay? Make sure your bowl is dry when you're milling. Otherwise, you will not get a nice fine mill. It'll be grainy, and you don't want grainy. Transfer to a bowl and set aside. You guys see my brain ticking? I didn't bring one over. I'm hoping, oh, here we go. I do have something I can use. I haven't quite got around to organising this space properly yet. So it's a work in progress, but we're getting there. So let's put this into a bowl. If I had a second bowl washed up and ready to go, this would be the perfect time to have a second bowl, because you wouldn't need to transfer this aside. You could plop in a second bowl and continue on with the recipe, which just speeds up that process. So yeah, second bowls are amazing. Okay, if you get your chance to get one, get yourself one. There's certainly at the moment, so we are currently, I know some of you guys watch on replay, so I'll give you date reference. We are currently middle of May 2024, and Thermomix in Australia have announced a bowl offer for both trading up your TM5, which is super amazing because you can actually keep your TM5. How cool is that? So you're not actually trading up. It's a loyalty style offer where they're honoring you for being, an amazing TM5 customer. You led the way with your TM5s. Where you can actually get a Thermomix and a second bowl, and it's $300 off the price of a Thermomix, and the bowl is free. So in essence, it's $695, which is that you're getting reduced pricing on. So that's super cool. And also, if you're buying a Thermomix for the first time, there's a bowl offer for you too. You can add one on for $29, usually $395. So that is really cool. I wasn't actually planning on talking about that today, but transferring out requires, if possible, a second bowl. And I've actually got a few, but the kids have been cooking today. I've been cooking today. It's a lot happening. So, all right, next up, 80 grams of pitted dates. Don't know how much I've got. Oh, perfect. I may have had a snack on a few of those on the way. Next up, we've got some apples quartered. Okay, I do have fresh apples. However, on the weekend, I went through, because we were moving into this kitchen space out of the spare room and the storeroom, which, by the way, different ends of the house. That was a terrible idea. But anyway, you live and you'll learn. So in my cleaning out, I found a whole lot of sad-looking fruit. Okay, predominantly apples. A couple of plums, would you believe, from about a month ago that somehow were edible, not edible enough to eat, like they were soggy, soft, but they weren't bad. They were just overripe. And so I cooked it up. Okay, so all I did is I diced them all up, took out the seeds, any bad spots, like roughly diced, and then chucked them in the Thermomix, blitzed them on speed 5 for about, it was like a bowl and a half, not a bowl and a half, a litre and a half. And then I cooked them for 45 minutes. There was a lot in there. I put a dab of water in it as well, and that's what I got. So we've been using it on waffles and all sorts of things just as we go. It's not really like a jam. I think that's going to be too much. No, it's not really like a jam. It's more like what you'd expect in an apple crumble or something, which actually, that's what I thought I was going to use it with. Just haven't had time this week. So anyway, it's pink because of the 2 plums. The rest is apples. I think it might be a pear. So might have even been a lemon. I feel like I found like half a lemon that I kind of cut the skins off. All right, let's do this. On with the lid, and it's going to blitz that. So remember, that would have been fresh apples. Okay, skin on, just cut the sides off. 5 seconds, speed 5, and this is going to blitz those dates for us. I have to add, I keep my dates in the freezer, so they were out for maybe 10 minutes or so. They do freeze relatively hard, but when I look at that, I can see there's still chunks in there. So I'm going to go back a step, and I'm going to do it again. You probably won't need to if you've got the fresh apples in there. Like, it'll probably dice nicely because that's in there, but mine is so sloppy, it's kind of acting like water where it sticks to the side. So let's just do it again, and I'll probably adjust the speed a little bit. Now it's free spinning. You know, free spinning doesn't damage your Thermomix, okay? It's not like a traditional blender where that creates a heat, so don't stress. I mean, it's annoying and I'd stop it because it's just irritating, but it doesn't damage, which is good. Let's have a look and see if I've got some of them down. That's looking a lot better. All right, so next, some oil. Now, olive oil is crazy expensive at the moment, so I've been avoiding it, like completely avoiding it. Every time we cook meat, we take the fat off the meat. We're using that on our, when we're cooking like on a fry pan, or we don't use fry pans very often, more so for us the barbecue. We use the hot plate of the barbecue regularly. So when it comes to this sort of thing, I'm actually going to use ghee today. Now, this is a dairy-free series, but when you cook down butter and you turn it into ghee, you've actually cooked off the butter part, the dairy component, and you're left with the oil component. So I'm not too worried, but if you don't want to use ghee, use your olive oil. If you don't have olive oil, use macadamia oil. If you don't have that, use like a grapeseed oil. I steer well away from veggie oil, so I can't say I wouldn't say veggie oil. It's just not great for you at all. So that's what I'm using today. You can see it's relatively soft. It's been sitting out on the bench. We leave it out on the bench. So in that goes. But any liquid oil at this point. By the way, if you are not dairy free, let me just sidestep for the second, because this is for you guys as well. I always want everybody to take something away. You at this point could put 60 grams of butter in and just melt the butter down. Yeah? Easy as that. So if you don't have liquid oil, rather than making ghee beforehand to do it exactly as Lisa's just done, you could just warm it up in here, 60 degrees, probably 4 minutes, stove, like speed 1. It doesn't matter if the apple and the dates cook off a little more, and let it melt down. There's an option for you, okay? You could possibly, and I don't have experience of this, if you have your alternative butters, like your Nuttalex or something, and I gotta say, never eaten the stuff, so I can't talk from first-hand experience, but if it melts down, you could do that with Nuttalex. Actually, the thing that I probably would have gone to if I didn't have the ghee at the moment is actually coconut oil. But make sure it gets down to a soft form, because otherwise you're going to get a bad texture in your loaf, okay? Okay, in with our reserved rice. If you have any questions about that, reach out, okay? This year is all about making sure I share with you my thought processes behind things, because often I'm swapping and substituting and working with what I've got, because I don't want to dash off to the supermarket and buy stuff. Like once a week max is all I want to go to the supermarket. Like I do not want to go in between. If I can push it out to 10 days, 2 weeks, even better, okay? So that's why I share those kind of thought processes, because rather than you going, oh, I really feel like this tea bread now, but I don't have the ingredients, maybe you've got something you can use instead and save that fuel, because inevitably we go to the shops for that walnuts or whatever. And we come home with a trolley load, don't we? So this can save you money as well. Okay, next up, gluten-free baking powder, 1.5 teaspoons. So 1.5. Okay, next, 1 teaspoon of bicarb. And that goes. You do know you can make your own baking powder? It's on Cookie Do. Check it out. Okay. 1/2 teaspoon of xanthan gum. Now this, if you are not gluten-free and you're not accustomed to buying gluten-free, this would be cooking gluten-free. This would be the ingredient that might stop you making this today. Okay. Xanthan gum is a binder. It thickens things up. If I don't put it in, this will look like a sloppy, watery mess. The xanthan gum literally thickens it to a cake consistency. Always used in your breads and stuff that are gluten-free. Worth buying it just to put it on the shelf and have a little bit ready to go for when you do want to make a recipe that's a bit different. Okay, salt, 1/2 teaspoon. And it goes. Brings out the sweetness. A little bit of sugar, 60 grams. And it goes. I don't know how much I got in there. 50 today, 49. Okay, some walnuts chopped. Now I've not chopped my walnuts. You guys, probably that doesn't surprise you. I'm going to show you how to do it, okay, or how I'm going to shortcut it to do it. I don't want to have a dirty chopping board. Have I got enough? No. All right, doesn't matter. I don't want to have to do that, so I'm just going to skip it, and I'm going to spin the dial up a little faster in a moment to just chop it a little bit. Okay, 3 large eggs. In they go. Now I know in advance someone's probably going to ask me about egg replacements, so I'm just touch on it quickly. I reckon you could use your aquafaba that you find in chickpea tins in this recipe. Alternatively, a banana would be my go-to. You could do a chia egg as well 3 chia eggs, where you make it with chia seeds and water. So that's another option as well. Can't say I've had to do it, but those of you who are egg-free, I'm sure you've got your preferred ways. But you might be cooking for a colleague, and actually, I've got to talk to you about that. When we cook this one on the weekend, hang on, let's get this going, and I'll just give you some little tips for when it comes out of the oven. All right, on with the lid. Now, it's got a 20-second speed 4. Speed 4 is not going to chop the walnuts. Chopping speed 5. I'm going to go 5.5 because I've got liquid in there as well. So I'm going to just go a little faster because I want it to chop, yeah? And go to 4. Override it. Okay, so now I'm just going to transfer to the tin and cook it. If you've got the Thermomix sensor, it's amazing. I do love it. I've used it so many times, way more than I ever thought I would, because everything alarms at me to tell me that it's done. Okay, I'm one of these people, I sometimes forget to put the oven timer on. I may put it on and then not actually know that that's what's going off, and then leave it until it stops ringing, which doesn't take long. It's only like 3 or 4 dingles, and then I'm like, what's the smell? That burning smell, and it's gone. Yeah, it's passed. So with the sensor, when you put it in, your Thermomix connects to it, as does it to the app on your phone, because if you don't have a Thermomix, you can still use it. It connects to the app. And everything alarms. So I do really like it. So, and it's actually telling you how to do that. But if you don't have the sensor, you can push down and you can turn that off. Okay, and it tells you how to do it without it. So don't stress too much about that. See here, it's connecting to the sensor. Can you see that little prompt? I'm just wanting to get this stuff off the lid into my bowl. Now, you don't have to use it just with guided recipes. You can, once you kind of learn how it works, like you can see here, this loaf style cake gets to 96 degrees. If I was going to make banana bread, what temperature would I go to? 96 degrees, yeah? Do you get kind of the similarities there? By the way, that is dates. They're gone. The walnuts chopped down, which is what we wanted, yeah? So we can click on this. Now, I don't think it's going to work right now. Now, it says remove from the charger to connect. It's not in this room. I've left it in the storeroom still. So stuck on the fridge in there. So I can't show you that. But anyway, go next. So it says bake for 180 until the sensor indicates the temperature has been reached. Monitor via the cooking center. Remove the loaf from the tin. So I'm thinking about 45 minutes. I will probably get my sensor. Okay. And then remove the loaf from the rack, allow it to cool, and then serve. Okay. So it's really easy to make it. You do need to let it cool before you slice it, just because otherwise you're going to find it just crumbles. And when we made it on the weekend, when we first got it out, and we were going out and taking it somewhere with us, okay, it seemed a little grainy. And so I was like, oh, what am I going to do? So I sliced it thinly, probably like normally you'd think loaves and you think like big chunks, right? I was like, it seems a little grainy to me. So I actually cut it in like 1/2 centimeter bits. Okay, you see it on the end photo. I'll put that photo up for you. That's the end photo. And then and then I was like, okay, so I need something to make this a little more attractive. What am I going to do? So I whipped up some cashews and I turned it into a cashew cream to take with us to put on it. Now, if you're not dairy free, you could turn that into like a cream cheese, buttercream type icing. Like go find the buttercream on cookie dough and just follow that. And it was devoured. Okay, so by the way, when we got to these people's houses and we were eating the food a couple of hours later, or an hour later, it wasn't grainy at all. So I think it just needed time to sit and absorb that moisture in, but because I was in a hurry. But every time from now on, I'm going to do it that way because it was really well received. It made it go further. There was probably 20 something of us there. So to be able to spread it further amongst people because they were thinner slices, and also being able to slap on the slightly sweet buttery style stuff, it was an absolute hit. So just a little suggestion, especially if yours comes out grainy for whatever reason. Like I was surprised it was grainy because I've milled my rice many times before, but when we went to eat it later, it wasn't. Definitely wasn't. So all right, in this goes. You can see the texture. You can kind of see the texture from back there. And then into the oven. So there you go. That is how we make this beautiful loaf from Cookie Dough, gluten-free, dairy-free, amazing. If you've not tried it, put it on your to-do list for this week. Grab your ingredients. I hope you've kind of got the idea of some swaps and substitutions that you can use. If you've got date paste, you certainly could put that in instead. It doesn't have to be the dates. Obviously, you won't need to blitz it so much. You saw me use apples. If for some reason you didn't have apples, but you had tinned apple, or pie apple, that would work as well, yeah? So, that's how you make it. Keep an eye out for the finished product photo. If you've got questions, let me know. But otherwise, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you'll try this recipe, get more out of your Thermomix. I'm here to help if you need anything, so do ask your questions. But otherwise, take care. I'll see you in the next video soon. Bye for now.